One. Happy Friday, Thomas. This week we're going to continue on our little mini series and expand it out. As our viewers are familiar or not, we did your first entire watch through, the first, the last Nerdom of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and
First
while
season.
you were doing that, first season, exactly, your first trek through TNG, and you had jumped onto the newer series, the newest one out, and had made some very positive comments. And we decided that we were going to go ahead and roll into covering this. And that series is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. And actually, our roles are kind of reversed because you actually have seen a few of these, and I'm catching up. So it's the opposite take on how we did the TNG. But with that being said, this is Alex Kurtzman's Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and this is the latest and greatest, newest, freshest Star Trek out. And I gotta say, I kind of wanted to hate this a little bit. I'm just being honest, and not because of the content, but just because of as a true blue Star Trek fan, definitely Star Trek for me, big Star Wars fan, but Star Trek is near and dear to my heart. And the initial blush with Star Trek Discovery that came out a few years back, and Picard, I gave them both a fair shot, and I ended up abandoning them because they just didn't make any sense, and I wasn't interested. And that was after the first full season viewing of Discovery. Anyway, not to jump into the negative, but this is kind of like one that I was like, I don't know, probably not. But from positive reviews from folks like yourself and other folks that I respect, that isn't the case for this series. And I gotta say, I was very pleasantly surprised. I gotta say, it was not what I thought. I will say the first couple episodes are kind of hard to kind of get into, but I'm happy to report this seems to be a very, how did I put it? It seems to be a very good series, including the season 1 wobbles of a classic Star Trek series, because it's true for all Star Trek. Probably with the exception being the original series, but that's a different story. This is the first one, and we covered the first 3 episodes for this.
Just first 2.
Yeah, first 2. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. See, there it goes. There's the ghost, the gremlin of last season, where I'd have it turned around a little bit. Anyway, my ability to number episodes in there, but in any case, this Strange New Worlds, and we had episode 1 and 2 that we're going to cover here. So take us there. So what did you like about this? What was the draw to keep you coming back, especially from being in the middle of toward the end of TNG? Why do you like this one?
In a few words, Captain frickin' Christopher Pike.
Yeah.
When I watched the preview for this show, that was the first thing I latched on. He kind of embodied the fun of the original Star Trek to me. And you have Spock, and this is a for those that aren't familiar with the series, it's a prequel to the original series. This is the captain of the Enterprise right before Captain Kirk, and it's played by Anson Mount, I think his name is.
Anson Mount.
And I was familiar with him. I I didn't realize it was the same person because he looks quite a bit different than his other role. He was I'm familiar with him for Hell on Wheels, that show. It was a western on I think AMC. But yeah,
yeah, AMC. You're right.
Yeah, and he plays a very dark and tormented character in Hell on Wheels. Very very down and kind of not a uplifting character. He's got everything seems to go wrong for him, and which he does a amazing job in the series. I enjoyed it, and that was actually one of my mom's favorite shows as well. We would watch it together. But yeah, so he was very unrecognizable in from the advertisements in Strange New Worlds. But the start of the first episode, he's sort of maybe deciding to retire from Starfleet, and he's had a traumatic experience that we're not aware of, and he's kind of let his hair grow out, and he looks similar to him in Hell on Wheels, and I was like, I know that character, so I looked him up and said, oh yeah, he's Hell on Wheels. And but the character that he plays in this show is diametrically opposed. I guess it just shows what a great actor he is in that. he could play various characters and make them unique for each series he does. But yeah, so he gets roped back in to captain the Enterprise because he needs to rescue one of his first officer and some of her crew.
Yeah, I was I'm it was the first. It really reminded me a lot of the first seasons of past Trek shows. And my understanding of this series, the way that it was, I did some reading and some things while you were watching. You kind of fed me a little bit. You were very light on the details, but you said, hey, this is a good one, and why don't we cover this one as we go forward in this? But I believe that this is. I wouldn't go so far as to say this is an apology of Alex Kurtzman for or Star Trek Discovery and for Picard. But it definitely, I have read that he made this to kind of satisfy the hardcore Trek fan or the typical Star Trek fan that like where things are there. And thus far, I didn't necessarily come in wanting to hate it or whatnot, but I was pleasantly surprised. I really was. And it'll be interesting to see kind of as they get their footing, get the main characters there. Who are the main characters? Obviously, you have Captain Pike, you have Spock, those obviously, but you have Uhura, or I guess she's a cadet now. Is that the same Uhura or is that a different one? That's one I wasn't clear on for this character, but in any case, doesn't really matter. Still very interesting. Very interesting. Some of the technology kind of doesn't match up a little bit, but
right. Yeah,
you can
there's some
stuff,
like exactly.
Let it go and just like see what they're going to do with it and kind of go from there. But I have very positive feelings toward this as it goes forward. This first episode, it didn't really knock my socks off, to be honest with you. Like I said, it's a little rocky. It wasn't to the point like where I felt like I had to turn it off or nope out of it, like I have with other things. I'm happy to report that I'm glad I stuck with it. I'm glad that you mentioned it and brought it forward.
And it kind of gets back to I haven't seen Discovery and I haven't seen Picard, but it seems like those have like this ongoing storylines, whereas this kind of gets back to that episodic tell one story within itself. And one of the things that is most intriguing to me is that the Pike character has seen himself die, and that's sort of his torment. Even though
That's right.
he's kind of a lighthearted sort of character, he has this darker element to him in that he's wondering if he can avoid his death, when his death is going to come about, and he's talked to various characters in the story about this, and that's sort of a very intriguing element because we know of his death in the original series. So yeah, it's kind of a interesting nod to us that we that both he and us know his eventual outcome, or is it?
Yeah, and as a criticism I have of the first couple episodes, like they did that pretty tastefully. They pull it off. And you know, on Discovery, like just some of the things just don't match up with it. It was just too jarring. Whereas this one is a little bit more, much more forgivable. Just so what they have this techno, whatever, you know, you just roll on, you know, just move on. Star Trek was never hard hitting in the way that canon is. Deep canon is committed to it, so there's a lot more flexibility there. I'd say a lot more flexible than say Star Wars, like where Star Wars is very rigid or can be, I guess, depending upon who has the axe, who's cut down that tree. But this is not the case for this. It's a little, like I said, a little rough, but it you hang in there and it pays off. That's what I've heard. Is just hang in there and it pays off like the original shows and series that Trekdom is known for.
And the at times you notice that the Enterprise is very top heavy with the female characters. There's a lot of female characters.
Yeah,
which I'm okay with. I'm okay with.
Yeah, like I say, it's one of those things like where it's a little bit out of balance, but it works out. They make it work. I'm really looking forward to as we review these other episodes. I'm interested to see how it turns out. So there's some staying power there.
Yeah, and there's that I forget the name of her character, the tough one, that sort of has a kind of block on her shoulder.
Sung, Noonien Sung, was that the one that you're talking about?
I think so. She kind of has a moment with the captain towards the end of one of the episodes. She talks about her captivity with that one race of, you know, she's the only survivor of her you know, her clan or whatever.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how, because like this is somehow tied in with another. I won't go into it, but it's kind of like it's very confusing to me how the hell this is tied into that. But I guess that's kind of the beautiful part of watching it and seeing. I am kind of turned around a little bit as to like obviously I understand Spock and Anson, you know, Pike and Uhura, etc. Like duh. But some of these are like. Chapel, I'm still trying to figure out, and the Soon character, I'm still trying to figure out too. And there is it's Captain Kirk has a very unique appeal, and Pike I think is a weird kind of. So the thing about Star Trek is you judge it by the captain of the ship, right? So and that's true. And it started Captain Kirk, Picard, good grief, DS9. I'm such a crappy fan and not pull that name out, but Janeway on Voyager, and what is his name? Deep Space Nine. Good grief. I need to turn to my Trek card.
Captain Zippy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Should know. So horrible. Like I brain dump, but I've had a long day. But aside from that, Avery Brooks.
Yeah, no, that's
Benjamin Sisko. Yep, that's what it was. But anyway, so you know them by their. The captain is that is the captain, and the show kind of follows in their footsteps for sure. And this is no different. This is why I think it works, and why as we go forward and go on. I'm not too much sure. I don't think this was the strongest, episode one that I've ever seen for Star Trek. But
right.
Again, that's the beautiful thing from what I've heard is it has those beautiful nerdy wobbles, like where it kind of sort of is getting its feet and its walking legs on and walking shoes on rather and getting going, but it works. I think it will work for sure.
Yep.
But I kind of wanted to hate on this a little bit, but after seeing, I softened up a little bit because it's not reality. From what you said about it, and from what other the critics that I follow and respect, they say that's not the case at all, and I'm so happy.
Yeah,
I'm happy
yeah,
the bleeding has stopped.
Yeah, and you can see by the score up at the top, 8.2 out of 10. There's we're not alone in our opinion.
Indeed, yeah. And I don't know how this would rank in the pantheon of things. I don't think that's really possible to do that kind of an analysis. I'm not prepared to anyway. But moving on from episode 1, episode 2, this one was a little bit smoother for me. And I was happy to kind of see the tropes of Star Trek return. A creature of the week or crisis of the week kind of thing, as it were. Still, I think aside from Captain Pike, I think a lot of these characters are finding their footing. I think Spock landed in this one a little bit better than the other ones, but these other characters, everybody else is still developing, and they're not quite. I'm not quite ready to comment on their as they go forward, because you're going to see these kind of things go up and down a little bit. And you're right, it is very, and there's nothing wrong with it, female heavy. And Star Trek has never shied away from any of that.
Right. Yeah.
At all. In any way, shape, or form, they made it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was like the classic thing. Some of the way they pulled this one out was like kind of like, okay, but again, you can chalk that up to not bad writing or anything, just like those first season 1 wobbles, those nerd wobbles that Star Trek is known for. No Star Trek season 1 has ever been like amazing, in my opinion. But they always had that dynamic, like where the crew is still melding together and figuring out things, and you as the audience member, just from classic Star Trek and forward, you are on that ride. That's the beauty of it. Like, you pick your favorite characters out. Aside from Captain Pike and Spock, I'm still developing an opinion on like I said, I think it gets a lot better later on, like where they really hit that classic formula, and they get rid of this overly dramatic, just to be dramatic sake thing.
And I enjoyed I enjoyed the first scenes in it where they Uhura goes to her first dinner in the captain's cabin. That whole thing played out really nicely, I thought.
That was very much apropos. Like the dinner thing was a little bit new. It's a little bit more a human side facing, more emotional, like where they have dinner and they break bread and whatnot. And that is still Trek, because in TNG they would do a poker game every so often. And in DS9 they would play baseball. And Janeway, I don't know what they would do, but Neelix, that's right, they would do break bread and eat, show folks eating. But this is a much more intimate setting. It's very interesting. I'm very curious to see how they do more of those type scenes. Good call out too, for that. Not just ready room and we're having a meeting on business. It's just more the human side of it.
Yeah, and that seems more in line with the Captain Pike character, whereas you couldn't see Picard doing that with with his crew. There's much more of a professionalism there, whereas Pike doesn't really enjoys making jokes, and even on the bridge, making jokes and having a lighter tone with this crew.
Yeah, and really the classic Star Trek goes off the strength of its captain, and they knew what they were doing, and they saw talent in him. Because I haven't seen him, but I think the world is on episode 3 or 4 of Discovery, as it's kind of gone on, and I know he's from Discovery. He's done cameos, and that
as Pike, yeah.
Yeah, and I've kind of loosely followed along to see if there's a point like where I could jump back into Discovery or Picard or whatever for the things. So it's not total haterade that I'm drinking over here, but because you just never know. But I from what I've heard, nobody hates Pike when he was in Discovery and whatnot. Discovery is another matter, but not germane to this a little bit. But again. A Star Trek show rises or falls on the shoulder of its captain, for sure. That's not an original observation, but it is one that's apropos to this for sure. The technology in canon, well, we'll get there. So you can't, I'm not going to be, in the weeds on that, but we'll just see how it goes, for sure.
Yeah, and this was a Uhura centric episode, which I thought. For the most part, it was strong. Her character's interesting. She's obviously getting to do much more than her character did in the original series.
Oh yeah, by leaps and bounds for sure.
Yeah, and plays to her strengths as a communicator with language and whatnot, and her struggles with actually being a part of the Enterprise and whether or not she is meant to be there. That
fits in.
Yeah, and Spock kind of helps her along the way to that aspect of it in his own particular way.
And one of the things I do, although, and this is kind of like a criticism across the generations for Star Trek, the different technologies and bridge scenes and whatnot, but I really like the aesthetic of it for sure. Like I was something I was really surprised by in episode 1 and this one, as you get to see more of the ship and you see more of the things. It holds up for sure for what it is. I'm really excited to see more episodes for this. Like this is one of them.
And it was very interesting because I was watching the Next Generation for the first time. I was watching episodes of that and then going and watching episodes of this and seeing the very different visual aspects, the upscale as far as resolution as well as the whole technology of the ship and everything. But at the core of both of them was trying to tell a good story.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. Some characters I'm still kind of warming up to. There's a couple that I could do without, but I can't really say that they absolutely friggin' suck because we're not there yet. I'll reserve judgment on ultimate characters and how well they gel or meld, and see if they kind of do, see who sticks around for season 2. I hope they do a season 2, but.
One thing I could say is that each character is distinct. You never get lost of, well, which one is that one?
I think they did a lot better job than say TNG season 1, where some characters, to be honest with you, are parked. They're parked there, and you're not going to see any development until season 2, season 3. It'll be interesting. They did a lot deeper background on a lot of it. It's a very interesting, just an interesting way that they introduce you to them, and they keep them around. They go a lot more in depth on some than others. Whereas you don't get that character development sometimes until season 5 or season 4 of TNG, but that's a different animal. And that's true for DS9 too, and to a lesser degree in Voyager, excuse me. That's true as well there, but I am really optimistic on this one, and this is not I like I said, I kind of wanted to hate it a little bit, but when I started to hear that and I actually experienced it for myself, I'm glad I did. But the very very strong showings for a new Trek series, and thank God, they had a hit, or seemingly have a real Star Trek on their hands, and not this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to describe Discovery. I don't know how to describe Picard, other than I don't know what that is, but it's not Star Trek as far as I'm concerned. Like that, I hate to say that, but no, actually that's not true. I don't hate to say that. It is what it is, and but if you were an original Trekkie, and you were burned by the last two series that are out there, come on home. Come on home and check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, because this is Star Trek.
Yeah,
it's not some weird retelling of whatever, like other things have been, like the last, like just the shellacking that the Trek fan has had. But this does very good. Really looking forward to episode 3. I just stopped myself from and to be honest with you, I did watch episode 3, but I couldn't help myself. But I'm really looking forward to episode 4 and 5. And I think we're maybe on 6 this week. I'm not sure, but we'll catch up. But
and unfortunately, I think we've lost Red Letter Media. I think they're burnout on the new Star Trek. But I think they're missing out. I think even though they I think they decided that they weren't going to watch any more new Star Trek after the second season of Picard.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I'm still working my way through like their latest thing. And they're very entertaining, but you can only watch so much before you dig in, and it's like, got it. But they're entertaining regardless. So that's another shout out to Red Letter Media. They have very awesome content on YouTube.
Yeah, and
For sure.
when I was looking into Anson Mount and finding out, oh yeah, he's the guy from Hell on Wheels, I ran upon his Twitter account and just kind of going through his Twitter account. He seems like a really nice guy. He has a very nice nice Twitter postings and whatnot, and he has a podcast his own self. I forget the name of it, but it's kind of a nerdy podcast with another guy. So
cool. I'll have to track it down and maybe put it in the description for folks to check out for sure. Yeah, I have not heard one negative thing about this actor and Captain Pike, and that's a very very good sign when it comes to Star Trek. Especially the face of Star Trek. This is the face of Star Trek now. Like whereas some other previous Kurtzman series are not very well. It is what it is. Nothing I can say is going to change that or whatever. But in any case, this was good. Not much else to say, but
no,
I am very excited. I'm just really happy that there's this. I'm trying to get my kiddos to follow along with me, but that might not happen until the season's over. But we'll see. But we'll see. But then again, I haven't been a very good Trekkie dad and be like, let's watch this. They just don't care. It's too cerebral. Star Trek, the TOS is just too. They just can't pay attention to it. It's just too old, I guess. And then the TNG is too cerebral and too a little slow moving for them. And deep space. We'll see later on. But anyway, this is very much a good show. It's a good show. Yep. It's nice to see it. So, and with that, and this has been our trek through Strange New Worlds, I guess. As we continue on in Trekdom. And with that being said, we would really love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, tell us what you think.
So Picard's is Engage. What was Pike's? It was Hit It, right?
I think so. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. That's what I've seen. I still getting used to the. I think they're gonna that may or may not change. We'll see, but who knows? But it works. It doesn't matter if he said, you can probably say whatever you wanted and it still work. Sure. With that, I think that brings us to the end of this week's episode, covering our mini series as we continue through Star Trek, going on to Strange New Worlds. I've been Mike.
I'm Thomas. See you out in the stars.
We will.